I'm going to talk a little bit about in this lesson finding leads and what to do with them when you get them. You can find leads on the internet and social media. You can find leads through your friends and family. You can find leads by looking just about anywhere around in your community. So let's focus on how to actually put together a list of leads and what to do with it when you get it. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to set up your own event as soon as possible. There's a number of reasons for this, and it's pretty easy. First of all, you just find a location, think about how many people you could invite and how many people you think you could get there. This is kind of like throwing a home party. I'm sure many of you have attended Tupperware parties and candle parties and all those kinds of things. So you're going to put together a party that's going to gather people in one place, but kind of like paint night is now doing, you're going to be doing a mystery event as entertainment rather than trying to sell people a bunch of products they don't want. So you're going to find a location. You're going to invite both men and women, because Step into Mystery is something that appeals to both men and women. So you're not limited like you are with candle parties or beauty parties or something like that to just women. Then you're gonna charge $20 a person, which is actually pretty reasonable for a party. If you think about it, you're gonna end up paying more than that buying products that you don't really want. Paint night again is one that's moved into this home party area. So think about this as putting on your own little Step into Mystery home party to get you off to a good start. If it really bothers you to charge your friends $20, which it really shouldn't have, because that really is a very low rate for one of these home parties, you can always realize that we get paid, Step into Mystery gets paid $10. Out of the $20, you're at a 50% commission level right now. So if we get paid $10, you can charge them $10 if that's what you want to, and then you just won't make any money off of it. But it's important one way or the other that you set one of these up, because there's a couple of reasons why. You need a minimum of 8 people, and you can use any number above that. We usually recommend that you try for about 20 people. You're going to set up a time and date, and then we'll take it from there. And we're going to send you everything you need to put on one of these Step into Mystery role-playing events. We're going to send you all of the information of how to do it, and it's easy for you because you don't have to worry about it. You're in front of friends and family, and if there's a problem, you can always break down and not be embarrassed in front of strangers. And what it's going to do is it's going to give you the confidence to know what you're doing, and to know that these are fun, and to know that they work. And it's also going to let you know exactly what it is that you're selling. It's sometimes very hard to visualize one of these events, and it's hard to realize what they're really like. So it will answer a lot of your questions. It will give you a lot of confidence. It gives you some experience. It's just a really, really great way to start out, and I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to set up one of these events as soon as possible, so that you really understand how these work and how people enjoy them and why they're so much fun. So now you've set up an event, you understand the events, you understand what you're doing. A lot of your questions are answered because you're not trying to imagine something that's in the abstract. You've actually done one of these. You've watched people have fun. You've listened to people laugh at them. So you're kind of enthusiastic, and now you want to know where to start and how to find leads. And this is something that is sometimes hard for people to get started with. So you're going to start first of all with what you know. You're going to talk to your friends and family. Chances are they've already attended the one that you put on. And you're going to start talking about what you're doing, and you'll find that people have connections to various groups and businesses. And once you get the ball rolling, it's pretty easy to branch out from there. So it's always easier to start with someone or something that you know. You're going to announce what you're doing on all your social media, and you're going to ask your followers to give you some suggestions. You're going to find out if anybody needs a good party, a fundraiser, if somebody's got a business that they want to increase the traffic on. So you're going to contact any charities that you may know of, if you're a member of a school or a church, or you have kids going to school, someplace that might be interested in raising money for a project. Maybe they want to go on a trip, or maybe they need new uniforms. So you're going to talk to people about their jobs, and you're going to ask them and try and think about how a Step into Mystery event could actually benefit them and how they could do it. I have a friend that owns a driving range, for example, and when we first started talking about it, she really didn't know that she could get people to come and pay the price for a Step into Mystery event, the traditional events. But she's had a lot of fun holding some events that were some of our game of clues. She gets people in there in the evening. She gives prizes out on buckets of balls. Everybody laughs and has a good time, and she thinks it's really encouraged people to think of her in terms of doing recreational, taking lessons for golf and so on. So she's been very pleased with the reception that she's gotten from them and how it has raised awareness of her driving range. And now I'm going to talk a little bit about the objection that people sometimes say is I don't want to do cold calling. First of all, you're not cold calling people like you would be if you were calling people and disturbing them in their homes. These are businesses and or organizations, and they're used to being contacted all the time. So this kind of business to business or business to groups and organizations is a little different than cold calling people out of the blue and trying to sell them a product that's going to clean out their septic tanks or their sewer system. So it's always easier to do a little bit of internet research. So you're going to start with the internet research. You're going to find out what people are what businesses are in a particular group that you're focusing on. You're going to find clients by starting with a list and send. You can also send a well-designed inquiry email. Now, this means that when they respond to your email, they're going to be warm leads because they've already expressed an interest in your events. So you're not just calling people off the bat and trying to explain this to them. You're getting them to call you and find out more about what you're doing. So now this is where we can come in and help, okay? You put together a list, and you can do this while you're watching TV. Put together a list, include email addresses that you found for the businesses that that you have found, and then you're going to call us or send that list to us, and we're going to take care of it from there on out. We've done this before. In fact, this is how we started out. You put together the list, and we're going to send out an email blast that's designed to catch their attention. We know what kinds of things work best. We've done email blasts to resorts and bed and breakfasts and wineries and breweries and all kinds of different places before. Country clubs are great too. And so once you give us the email addresses, we can put together a flyer. We'll design the whole thing. We'll put it together and send it out for you, and then the responses that we get back we will send to you and give you some ideas of what to do with them from there. So we know that we almost always get about a 1% return. So if you put together 100 different email lists, and you need to have at least that to really make it worthwhile, you're going to get one person or two people, if it's 200 lists. And that's really pretty easy because there's always that number of bed and breakfasts in your area. There's always that number of wineries and breweries and so on. So put together the list and send it to us, and we're going to send out the flyers, and you're going to get one or two returns that are warm leads, and that's a good place for you to start. So at this point, you're going to have one or two warm leads, and you can start. And you've spent an hour or so putting your list together, and that's it. But you've got some people that are already interested in your product for you to call and talk to them. Then you're going to find out what you can about them on the internet before you call them, and then you're going to call them and go back to our consultative marketing, our consultative selling. You're going to find out about their business or their organization. And so these are busy people, and you might not reach them on the first call. I've had people that I've called a dozen times trying to get through them, and I thought they were avoiding me, and it turns out that they were just really busy. So you're going to keep calling them until you actually get through to them, and then you're going to tell them, find out what they want to accomplish, and you're going to try and see how we can fit Step into Mystery into what they want to accomplish. So the question is, how do you get this list? It depends on what you want to focus on. It's all just a matter of deciding what you want to look at. The only thing you need to be careful of is that you need to make sure that your email list is not too jumbled up. So you keep all of your wineries together, you keep all of your breweries together, you keep all of your bed and breakfast together, you keep all of your schools together, and your churches and so on. So basically, what you're looking for is how to find these people and then get in contact with them. But at this point, you haven't spoken to anyone. You're just going to make a list and send it to us. And this is something that you can do while you're while you're sitting there watching TV at night, or while you're waiting for kids to do homework or whatever. This is something that doesn't take a whole lot of conversation or concentration, rather. And so you're just going to go through and find a list and copy off email addresses. So places like bed and breakfast, places like wineries and breweries, you can usually find a list that includes email addresses on the internet for your area and for your state. Fundraisers are something that are also fairly easy. Sometimes it's a little harder to get through to the right person or to find the right email address. You might actually have to make a few phone calls to find out who you should send it to. But start with asking yourself what kinds of groups need money. And there's literally dozens of them everywhere you look. It doesn't have to be a specific thing that's listed as a charity on Yelp or on one of the search engines. It can be something like, that all schools usually are looking for money for various projects. It could be the library. It could be a trip they want to take students on. Schools are always looking for money. The athletic department may need new uniforms. The band department may want to go in a competition. So you're going to be looking for groups and subsets of groups that might be interested in doing things. You might find that a church would want to be sending money to their pet project or their sister church somewhere. They might want to fund some kind of a trip for Habitat Against Humanity or Against Humanity. I'm sorry, Habitat for Humanity. It's one of those things that you just kind of that these groups are out there. That they're always looking for money, and that's always a good place to start. So you probably know some of them. You can also search through for causes that interest you. The SPCAs are usually always looking for money. Those are all good places to start. So go through these and make a list. And some of them will have email addresses, and some of them will have websites that are going to list email addresses. And some of them you're just going to have to call and find the email address of the person that is in charge of some kind of fundraising project, or ask them what kinds of things they're trying to raise money for at this particular time. They're usually always looking for something. Again, we talked a little bit about wineries, breweries, bed and breakfast, resorts. Those are things that are going to have actual listing. Like there's usually an association for breweries. There's usually an association for wineries in the area. The tourist group for your state may have a listing of wineries and breweries. You can just Google wineries in Pennsylvania or wineries in Atlanta, and these days there's always a lot of things that are going to come up, and usually there's going to be a list for it, and most of those are going to include email addresses, so you don't have to make a call. So get your list together, send it to us, we'll take care of it, we'll send them emails, and we'll tell them the benefits of our events. So it's pretty easy at this point for you to get the list together and to get at least a few warm leads out of it. Another thing to think about is we set up an event in a middle school, and you can there's all kinds of different websites that list schools. Most of them will list how many students go to the particular school, what kind of population and the demographics of the people around it. So basically what we're going to do is look at lists like that and put together who is in charge of it. There are even lists that list churches and how large they are, how many people attend their services, and so on. So you're looking for something that is large enough that they're going to be able to put on an event like this, and they're going to get about a quarter of their people to attend. So you want something that's a pretty good size, and that's what you're going to look for as far as putting together a list. Again, this is something, there's plenty of lists out there. Most of them include emails. and you can set up a fun game of Clue. Recreation departments, girls and boys clubs. Now, the boys and girls clubs can't always pay for an event, but the interesting thing is that very frequently they have sponsors or businesses that will sponsor them. You can also take it upon yourself to go to a business and say, look, there's a boys and girls club and they want to do an event. It's going to be fun. And I tell you what, it's going to cost X amount of dollars. If I can get 5 businesses together to pay for this, we can provide these kids with a really, really fun, different thing to do that's going to increase their communication skills, that's going to increase their cognitive learning, and thinking and reasoning and so on. And this is really a great thing. And you'd be surprised how many times you can put together something like that businesses are willing to jump in on. And again, this is another example of how we're just asking you to be a little bit creative in your thinking. There's always more than one way to look at things, and there's always more than one way to get it focused and funded. And we're asking you as a member of the Step Into Mystery family to be a little creative and to think outside the box. Maybe you don't really want to launch into anything big. Maybe you want to start this as kind of a part-time thing and you're a little bit hesitant about it. So, don't forget advertising on Craigslist for children's parties, Thumbtack, adult parties. We have good luck with other of the classified sites like Hoobly and Backpage and even Facebook and LinkedIn and other social media. Tell people that you're putting on parties, that you can arrange something that's really fun and different, that these are great parties for kids or for families and adult parties that will bring together a lot of different people, family reunions and so on. So if you need images for any of this, just let us know. We can send you images of past events. You can also do home parties the same as you would do home parties for candles, starlight candles or something like that, getting together some of your friends. Only like paint night, instead of selling the products, you're going to be putting together parties where they come and they're entertained. So just because you do the first one with your friends and you've learned what you're doing, doesn't mean to stop there. Each one of them can get together their friends and get a group, and so it's just like regular home parties or home parties for anything. Is you're going to use the contacts you have and the fun people have at these events to schedule their own. Remember that that's the beauty of working with us, is that we're going to do 75% of the work and you're going to get 75% of the money. So it's important is that we know it will work because we've done it before. We've been doing it. We've got other reps that are doing it. So it doesn't take much to get started. You don't have to have any investments. You don't have to have any kind of difficult training or anything. The beauty of it is you just have to jump in there and get something started, and we know that it will work. Now, some of you are going to want to make money a little faster. You're going to want to jump in there a little faster. If you want to make more money faster, don't just sit there and go out and look for businesses. Go out and find people to call. So when you're looking at your list of leads and you're putting together your list of leads, you're going to find people that are businesses, groups, and so on. And instead of just sending them to us and we'll send out an email blast for you and you wait for someone to respond, you're going to actually pick up the phone and talk to these people. Another interesting thing is that I had a sales rep who I had mentioned that our events are a little like paint night. And so what she did was she started following up who is putting on paint night events. Which is where you come and you paint a picture, and they hold them a lot in restaurants and bars and that kind of thing. So she went out to find out where they were scheduled, and then she followed up after them and said, hey, I have a different kind of event that's going to be just as good. It's in the same price range, and your people are going to love it. It's not messy. It's easier to do. And so she used that as a creative way to find her list. So you can find lists any number of places. Finding leads is easiest, and of course the fastest way to get something booked is to pick up the phone and call the number. So set your goals and your objectives and start making your calls. You'll find that the more calls you make, the more comfortable you will be, and we promise you that you'll be surprised at how many positive responses you get. That's the one thing that's really nice about this, is that you don't get a lot of hangups and you don't get a lot of people who aren't at least willing and interested enough to listen to what you have to offer, because it's different, it's unique. Remember that part of your organization is that you're always going to start with a list. It doesn't matter whether you keep it on paper, whether it's in Excel, in Word, some other methods, but you're always going to start with your list. And your list is going to include however much information you can find. It's going to include certainly a phone number, an email address if you can find it, and eventually you want to find the name and the contact information for the person who is the decision maker for your kinds of events. So, only this time, instead of sending out your email blast and waiting, you're going to make a call. You're going to start these calls. You're going to keep track of what you've learned. You're going to keep track of who you've talked to and what they've said. And sometimes it's hard to find the right person to talk to. But the more you explain what you're offering and engage the gatekeepers, the more that you're going to be comfortable with what you're talking about, and the more enthusiastic you can get them about what you're doing, the more enthusiastic they can be in helping you find the right person. So try and set your objectives. See the video on setting goals and objectives, and set a schedule for yourself. That schedule is going to help you meet your goals by meeting your objectives. And if you fall behind one day, make it up the next. Don't just go, oh, well, I didn't do it on Monday, and I should have done it on Monday, and now it's Tuesday. Well, I didn't do it on Monday, so I guess I won't do it on Tuesday. And you need to try and make up that time. If you didn't get it done because something came up in your personal life, then try and make sure you set aside 2 hours the next time on Tuesday instead of only 1 hour, and so on. So you're going to need to try and make it happen. So instead of just sitting and waiting for something, you're going to feel good about it. You're going to feel good about yourself because you're actually making things happen. And that's important for your self-confidence. And then be sure and call us. Be sure and talk to us, because we're going to help give you positive feedback. And again, that's going to help your self-confidence and keep you motivated. Again, always open your MailChimp emails. You'll often find ideas of where to look for leads in there. Something that other sales reps have done. You'll often find, some nice motivating things, some games, some contests, and so on. And it also keeps us engaged because we can see whether you've opened it or not. So be sure to open your MailChimp emails, and again, reach out to us. Send us a text. Send us an email. Tell us what you're working on. Tell us both your successes and your failures, because we're going to be there for you, and we're going to help keep you propped up and focused all the way along the line. Remember that the most successful people in any part of life are those who can best organize their time. And it's not just that they spend more time doing something, it's that they've learned to use their time better than those who are not as successful. So keep working, even after you have a few good leads. Don't just give up. Don't fall into the hole of just sitting back and waiting for things to happen. Make things happen by picking up the phone and reaching out. Grab your time and make the most of it, because the more successful you can be with managing your time, the more successful you will be with making money with Step Into Mystery. So again, I hope this helped a little bit, and I look forward to working with you.